So welcome everyone. How can I tell stories to my children interactively online tutorial 4. This is the 4th time we are all together and it's really my pleasure to share all these beautiful tools. Since I always open my workshop with the native game and quote, I want to ask one of the volunteers from the participants to read this beautiful quote. Is there anyone in this room who wants to read?
I read if no one else.
Go ahead, okay.
Fairy tales are more than true, not because they tell us dragons exist, but because they tell us dragons can be beaten.
Thank you, Gül. Yes, that's why actually we are telling stories for both children and for both adults. Not because tell us dragons exist, but because telling us that dragon can be beaten in our life. So the last week we focused on how to use polarities in the story, and this week we are going to focus on how to use rhythm and repetition in my story. And the next week will be our last session in this online tutorial. I cannot believe it, by the way. It's just super quickly comes to the end. We will focus on how to pick the right stories online or from the library. In that sense, I'm going to share with you some theoretical information and some sources that you can use while you are doing storytelling sessions in your future. So, before begins, I have a wonderful question for you to discuss. Why rhythm matters? What is it for you? You are really free to open your microphone and share your opinions.
For me, it's like a spice. It gives taste to the story, or like it makes it more interesting.
Which part makes more interesting, Cemre? Can I ask you? I think you are right.
Yeah, it's like a bit like melody. So when you repeat it, it's a bit like a song. So it's more appealing to the listener.
It becomes more delightful, right, for the audience.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, friends, go ahead.
I also think it makes it easier and interesting for the storyteller because it falls into the same structure that we speak. Our sentence have specific rhythms, and if we structure a story around the way we speak, we can also evolve with that.
Exactly. It really creates another different dimension to evolve also the audience. It really facilitates the storyteller's work. If we go even more and more deeper, why rhythm matters in our life? Any idea?
Because life has rhythm itself.
Why, Orgül?
Like seasons, like the year, month. I don't know. So everything has a kind of circle and it has rhythm.
Thank you so much, Orgül. You made this movement and I want to go from this movement. Rhythm creates a movement. And in that sense, the thing appears in the rhythm and it is how it appears. If there is a rhythm, if there is a sound, if there is a movement, then there is a strong connection. And it's a big question and a very deep question for me as well. The rhythm matters because of my heartbeat. The rhythm matters because of my breath, like, or the rhythm matters because of the time. But if we focus on more about my storytelling sessions, as Cemre said and Francis said, rhythm in the story actually facilitates the storyteller's work in terms of making it more interesting, more delightful, and take the attention of the audience and to create a real connection. If you have a rhythm in your story, which is connected to your own rhythm, then you can create a real connection and can unite with your listener. And children loves rhythmic things. So for today's menu, I have a discover your rhythm session first. We will focus on what's happening in your life in a rhythmical way. And then we are going to focus a small part of a story, focusing on repetition and the rhythm in a pumpkin soup story. And then we will work a partner work. How can you keep a repetition very fresh and enjoyable? And on the third part, I'm going to talk about some suggested rituals for storytelling session that you can enjoy. And the last part, we will focus on questions and answers. So, in our daily life, there is a daily lunch break, dinner break, maybe a time for a sport, maybe a time for a dance course, maybe time for making a Skype, maybe a time each Thursday at 9 o'clock, a workshop with me. There's a weekend programs and rhythmical celebrations and other sort of rituals like a birthday, summer holidays, national holidays. So now I want to ask you to take one small paper or your notebook and one thing to write, to focus on what is happening in your life in a rhythmical way. Focusing on daily routine, work routine, evening routine, weekend routine, and rhythmical celebrations. Enjoy your session. Are you ready? I'm doing it. Slowly, slowly, I ask you to come back to me. I hope you enjoy the discovering your rhythm in a daily time, in a weekend time, or realizing that maybe you don't have that much rhythm, but maybe it evokes some sort of interesting memories to you. If you have any particular discovery to share, please write to me from the chat session, or if you have this eagerness to tell something, you can always open your microphone and tell me. So after making this daily routine or weekly routine and all these rhythmical discoveries, I also want to ask you the question of what is the secret to the successful repetition? Like repeat, 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 always repeat, repeat, repeat. What can be the secret of successful repetition in terms of creating a movement? Any idea? No idea? Should I talk all the time? Gemma,
Maybe you could.
You mean
For me, it might be like it's not the most.
Hi, Pinar.
Yes, Gemma, you were telling something?
Yeah, but does someone else want to talk?
Alvaro, do you want to tell something?
No, it's
After,
Cemre who
after.
is talking. Cemre wants to tell something.
Yes, Cemre, go ahead and then I will jump to someone else. Go ahead, we are with you.
Yeah, for me it's not the most important thing, but it's important to have enough break between the repetitions, like to allow the audience to recognize it.
Wallah, Cemre, you say something very sophisticated, actually, very advanced information you gave us. I didn't think to go that much level, but you are so right. Extension of the gap moment is so important to create a real successful repetition. In that sense, repetition is not only a rhythmic, but it's also pause or extending the gap moment. Is there anyone in this room who wants to share what makes this repetition secretly successful, or what is the secret to the successful repetition?
To enjoy them, maybe.
Yes, thank you so much. That's also what I want to hear it. Every day we wake up and we basically do approximately the same thing. Some of them is obligation, some of them not. But a very successful repetition is actually hidden in the delightfulness and the enjoyment of those repetition. And in terms of using my repetition, considering the rhythm of the story, is actually connected to storyteller's enjoyment. For those who already tell stories to their children knows that when you finish a story, your child always say, I want to hear it again. So they really enjoy a lot actually to hear those stories again and again. And in that sense, sometimes while you are reading a story, for each repetition, you might feel that it's just boring again and again. Yani the same thing. Why? Yani, But for children, it's not like that. When there is a repeat, then they can actually learn what's happening in the story. And the most important thing, sometimes they can lose themselves in the story, but with those repetition, children can follow the story back. That's why repetition are also the heart of the story. Let's go further. I have one story.
May I have a comment?
Yeah, sure.
May I have a comment on that? So
Yes, sure.
What do you think about the prayer? Each day,
Yes.
I'm not a good practicing. Let's say I do not pray daily, but there are people doing this 5 times a day, and they are doing the same thing all over. What is the motivation you think behind this? It's not enjoying something else. It is something.
It's connection.
Connection, yeah.
Of
Connected
course.
to a big cause, whatever, I don't know. This is the same thing maybe to a storyteller. When the storyteller tells a story, the connection to the audience is important. Maybe
I think the familiarity of our repetition, familiarity of the rituals is really bringing us a security. And of course, it's very personal answer to your question, but in terms of religious rituals and those kind of repetitions are quite connected to our heartbeats, our breath, and also concept of the time. In that sense, if you really repeat one thing 5 times, then it means you can connect it to the universe, let's say, more and more familiarly and more easily. So if we go back to the story, actually, story world. Thank you, Jamal, for this comment. I hope my answer helps you. Let's focus on a story called Pumpkin Soup. Once upon a time, there was an old lady. She lived in a house at the bottom of the hill. And on the top of the hill lived her daughter. Her daughter was an amazing cook. She cooked delicious things to eat and delicious things to drink. The old lady liked to climb up to the hill to go to her daughter's house to eat all of her delicious foods. One day, she woke up. She opened her cupboard as an ordinary day, and she saw that there was no food in the cupboard. It meant only one thing. I'm going to wash, I'm going to dress, I'm going to take my walking stick, I'm going to walk along the road, I'm going to up to that hill, and I'm going to see my daughter. And she will give me delicious things to eat and delicious things to eat. So she washed, she dressed, and she took her walking stick. She exited her house, she locked the door, and she started to walk up to the hill to go her daughter. And she walked and walked. A rickety-ticky-tick, a rickety-ticky-tick. Here I come on my walking stick. A rickety-ticky-tick, a rickety-ticky-tick. Here I come on my walking stick. A rickety-ticky-tick, a rickety-ticky-tick. Here I come on my walking stick. She walked and walked and walked until she came across a creature. This creature has a sharp gray ears, sharp teeth, a black wet nose, and pink long scary tail. Oh! It was a wolf. The wolf said, "Hello, old lady. I'm very hungry, and you look good enough to eat. I'm going to eat you for my lunch." And the old lady said, You little silly creature. Look at me, how skinny I am. But look, now I'm going up to the hill to see my daughter. And now she's going to give me delicious foods to eat and delicious drinks to drink. When I come back, I will be nice, fat, and juicy. And then you can eat me. And the wolf said, "Oh, very well, old lady. I will wait for you right here." And the old lady said, "Bye-bye, Wolfie." For the next part, maybe a participant wants to join me. She walked and walked, this time more faster. A-ricky-ticky-tick, a-ricky-ticky-tick, here I come on my walking stick. A-ricky-ticky-tick, a-ricky-ticky-tick, here I come on my walking stick. A-ricky-ticky-tick, a-ricky-ticky-tick, here I come on my walking stick. She walked and walked and walked, and then one big creature just showed up. This creature was so big and so brown and stood up his legs. Whoa! It was a bear, and the bear said, "Hello, lady. I am very hungry. And you look so good to eat. I'm going to eat you for my lunch." And old lady said, "You little silly creature, look at me, how skinny I am. And now, look, I'm going to do up to the hill to see my daughter. And she's going to give me very delicious foods to drink and very delicious things to eat. When I come back, I will be nice and fat and juicy, and then you can eat me." The bear said, "Whoa, very well, old lady. I will wait for you in here." And the old lady said, "Bye-bye, bear." And then, she walked and walked. She get a bit tired. A-ricky-ticky-tick, a-ricky-ticky-tick, here I come on my walking stick. A-ricky-ticky-tick, a-ricky-ticky-tick, here I come on my walking stick. A-ricky-ticky, a-ricky-ticky, here I come on my walking stick. And she walked and walked and walked until she came across a creature. So I guess you have some idea about the repetition and the dialogue between old lady and this creature already, because now it's time to create an animal for the last part of the story and the dialogue between old lady and your creative character. So now we are going to do a partner work together, and the focus of this partner work is telling this story from the beginning. I believe in you. I believe all participants, first of all. And the task of this work is, how can you keep this repetition fresh and enjoyable to your story? In that sense, please focus on each nuance of the rhythm for each animal characters and walking songs. You can use the wolf and the bear for the first two stories, but it's your time to actually use a new character on the third part. And then enjoy the different variation of this rhythm, and please encourage your audience to join to this repetition when you feel ready. You are going to switch the roles, please don't forget it. And at the end of the practice, I hope you will have a time to give some feedbacks to each other. How was your storytelling sessions focusing on repetition? Is there anyone in this room who wants to share his or her discoveries? In my storytelling session, my partner, while doing all this repetition, something amazing showed up actually. She told me that this old lady, while she's escaping from those creatures, started to use her hand like that. A rickety-kitty, a rickety-kitty. and her hair becomes like a electric, and it becomes the sun. This is the llama. I'm just sharing what we shared together. So from the story, even though there is no information about that old lady's hair is becoming electrical while escaping from those creatures, her hair becomes so big, and it becomes like the sun.
Burns, maybe.
Also burns, yes.
Burns.
Also, my hair is also getting electric in that
Yeah.
moment. In that sense, I really want to thank you actually, because I think you really create an interesting connection and continuity in a story, and you create another dimension inside of the story. In that sense, you play with the rhythm by giving a different description. In this book, in this performance, actually, there is no information about how old lady looks like, how old lady is responding. But you create this by yourself, thanks to those repetition, is offering you this flow. I want to ask you again to the participants, do you want to share your discoveries and your feedbacks? No one?
Yeah, I would like to share that I could not easily repeat the same rhythm. I invented another one. I don't know why. I thought that did not fit to me entirely, so I just made up a new one. And I just brought the lady into the sea, deep into the sea. So I just created a new something. So it's sometimes the rhythm could not fit you in and then you have to make it new. That's.
Thank
And
you
it
very
worked
much.
very well. It was very enjoyable.
So happy to hear it. I want to say that while I'm telling this story, of course, I'm using quite female character. In that sense, the rhythm maybe did not resonate, let's say, with your energy. That's why you create another continuity while you repeat your story. However, you find the connection. This is why we are actually doing this work. In that sense, even though it is challenging, I'm hearing from you, you somehow take the attention of the frenzy while using an courageous rhythm. Thank you so much. Is there anyone else in the room who wants to share his or her discoveries? Focusing on repetition and rhythm? I guess nobody does.
Maybe if I repeat something like
yes,
like tiki tiki tiki,
yes,
something like this, the children will start to repeat it with me. It's like interactive.
totally.
So they start to sync with me, and they start to really learn it, memorize it, and then they start to interactive with the person who tells the story.
Exactly. Repetition, even though sometimes to adults seem a bit boring, they create a sense of anticipation. And then you create an interactive sphere with your audience, especially with your children. You can play with this rhythm, you can play with those characters, you can play with all those different emotions as well. And since the repetition part is very easy to repeat, you have some sort of familiarity, and with the base of this familiarity you can easily be playful and can be very in the flow on the present tense. Therefore, when you do an enjoyment with those repetition, then you can enhance the participation of your child and then follow a new routine. Before going to the next part of my workshop, I want to say that I actually took this story from a very well-known international storyteller called Jan Blake. and I highly, highly, highly recommend you to watch it also in YouTube videos. And for those who actually really wonders about the rest of the pumpkin soup story, after the end of this workshop, please go ahead and listen this story. It's really, really beautiful. And you can see also how Jan Blake plays with this repetition. So remember, it don't mean a thing if it got that swing. Dua, 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 dua. I also want to add to my workshop, when you have a rhythm, when you have a repetition in a more delightful way, in a more enjoyment way, you can also make your swing in your stories. And right now I want to jump another topic before finishing this session. As you have a repetitive daily routine or lunch routine or weekend routine, you can also create a very practical rituals for your children as a storytelling sessions. And the secret of those rituals is basically doing a repetition and create a sense of familiarity for your child. So we already learned this repeat. Arikitikitik, arikitikitik. Here I go to the walking stick. We can do this rhythm like that. Arikitikitik, arikitikitik. Here we go to the fairyland. I just created for you right now. Arikitikitik, arikitikitik. Here we go to the fairyland. And we walk and walk and walk. And while we are going to the fairyland, suddenly one big ocean just shows up. Now what we are going to do? In that moment, you can ask your child what you can do to overcome this challenge. And then you can again repeat this song again, like arikitikitik, arikitikitik. Here we go to the fairyland. Arikitikitik, arikitikitik. Here we go to the fairyland. And this time, there is a huge black box. What is inside of this black box? With those kind of small creative games that you create a repetitive songs or melody, you can create your own rituals with your children. In that sense, before coming to the next riddles, I actually want to ask you, is there anyone in this room, basically, who knows some children games to share, to use in this rituals? Something that you remember from your childhood. Go ahead. I want to hear
All
it.
right. I know
Francie,
a
go
game.
ahead.
I know a game, but you all have to come with me on that on a quitchy hand. It's called quitchy hand. Let me just make this big. Yeah. So you're all gonna come with me on a quitchy hand. We are going on a quitchy hand, and the quitchy is this big, and we are so strong, and we are not afraid.
Yes.
And we are walking, and then there's the supermarket, and we can't go to the right, and we cannot go to the left, so we have to go through it. And if we're in the supermarket, we're gonna like take some groceries with us, because we're going on a quitchy hand, and the quitchy is so big, and we are so strong, and we are not afraid.
We are not afraid.
We are not afraid, and we are walking, and there's loads of tourists. There's loads of tourists. And we can't get to the right. We cannot get to the left. So we have to go through the middle. And why are we doing that? Because the quitchy is so big, and we are so strong, and we are not afraid. And we walk, and we walk, and we walk, and we come to a river, and we cannot go to the right. We cannot go to the left.
No.
So we have to go through, and we have to swim through the river. And why are we all doing this? Because we are on a quitchy hand, and the quitchy is so big, and we are so strong, and we are not afraid. And we come to a cave, and it's dark, and there's something big, there's something fluffy. It's the quitchy! Let's go all run back, fast, very fast. Let's swim through the river. Let's go, let's go to all the tourists and to the supermarket, throw out all the groceries, and we're home. And we went on a Quiche hunt, and the Quiche was this big, and we were so strong, and we were not afraid.
And at the end of this road, guess where we arrived, Franzi? We arrived to the fairyland. In this fairyland, long time ago, there was an old lady. If you really start your storytelling sessions all the time, this kind of games that you learn from your childhood, and you combine it at the end, and then we arrive to the storyland, then you really create a sense of familiarity that after this game, the story will show up. Apart from it, you can always use some riddles for Turkish speakers. Bir varmış, bir yokmuş. Evvel zaman içinde, kalbur zaman içinde. Preler berber develer tellerken, ben enemin beşiğini tıngır, tıngır mıngır sallarken, es war einmal, es war keinmal. For German speakers, you can make it more exaggerated as well. And there are a lot of interesting riddles, of course, that you can play. As a performers in our storytelling sessions, we use the game of crick, crack. So I'm saying to you, crick, you respond to me, crack. We can just try out right now. Crick!
Crack.
Thank you, I hear some voice, but it's not enough. Crick!
Crack,
Crack!
Crack.
Crack.
Crick!
crack,
Crick!
Crack.
crack,
Crick, crick, crick!
crack, crack.
Long, long time ago, there was an old woman, and then you go further. You can create those kind of small, tiny rhythms and melodies, of course, as you wish. Like musical instruments, you can use it as well to remind that now the storytelling time is coming out. You can really also sing some songs that your child really likes and enjoy a lot. Right now, I actually want to ask to the audience, is there any other rituals or children games that has a repetitive rhythm as a melody, as an instrument, as a song? Do you want to share with us? You can also write it to the chat group, but of course, you can also use the candles and different shadow games and different instruments. However, to make it a ritual, a real ritual, remember, it needs to be familiar, it needs to be easy, and it needs to be delightful for you also to make it enjoyable for your child. I'm just checking the chat right now. Fatma, you have a Turkish one. Please share with us. Most of the people know Turkish. Other people can also listen it beautifully.
Bir Bit ve Pire'nin hikayesiydi.
Evet.
Bit ve Pire arkadaşlar beraber yola çıkıyorlar. Sonra arkadaşları, başka bir arkadaşları sanırım hamam böceğiydi. Ona gitmek için bir dereyi geçmeleri gerekiyor. Tabii Pire hızlı bir şekilde atlayıp nehrin karşısına geçiyor. Ama Bit geçemiyor. Ve düşüyor suyun içine. Sudan çıkabilmesi için arkadaşının kargaya diyor ki bana dala at, hemen arkadaşımı kurtarayım. Karga da diyor ki hayır gitmen gerekiyor. Bana benim bir saniye pardon. Pardon. Çalı bana çırpıdan ver diyor ve çırpı da kargaya söyle o da bana dal atsın diyor. Karga git bana peynir getir diyor. Böyle işte sürekli olarak birilerine bir şeyler getirmesi gerekiyor.
Zincirleme.
Evet, tilki ve tilki kuyruğunu koparıyor. Bir de böyle var yani. Bu repetition'a girer değil mi bunlar?
Girer. Fatma, just tell with us a chain story actually that something is happening and then this person needs to go to the bird and then this bird asks something and this character needs to go to the fox. And with this chain story, you can also create a ritual. And from France, I saw Quiche Jacques, Quiche Hund. I guess a Quiche is some kind of monster or creature. maybe, do you want to share it with us, Franzi?
That's the story I just told. A quiche Hand. You're
So,
doing
okay,
a quiche Jagd
okay.
is the German version.
Well, when it becomes German, it's completely not familiar with me, and I say, wow, what is this? But I guess we all saw how you made it real, and thanks a lot, friends. It's so beautiful to see this beautiful children game. It also gives me a lot of input and inspiring. So before saying goodbye to each other and coming to the last question and answer session, I want to also share the useful sources with you. And I again want to emphasize the beautiful performances of Jen Blake about this pumpkin soup. You can see how wonderful she's using the rhythm and repetition and enhance the anticipation of the audience. And the audience is adults. In that sense, you will see how magical it is. So now, is there anyone in this room who enjoyed the workshop? And questions and answers. Any questions?
I wonder if we could, or if you know, or anyone knows, this kind of children games or riddles, because it is something I really miss. I can't find so many sources for that.
Yes.
Is it that people are making it up all the time themselves, or is there no like traditional riddles, traditional children games?
Most of the time, some riddles is actually you can find at the beginning of the stories, Ogül. For example, in the book of Anadolu Masalları in Turkish, there is a wonderful Turkish riddles. Since you asked this question, I also want to ask you a riddle, and maybe afterwards we can completely finish the session. Here is the riddle for you, Ogül, and also for all others. What is it that will never break, will never wear out? You can give them away and still have them. Each time you give them away, they will get better. And if you don't give them away, they are of no use.
Knowledge or information?
Huh? Tell me again. Sorry, I couldn't understand.
Information. Maybe information, like bilgi.
It's actually
or
very
knowledge.
Close. Very good, very good. Huh?
Compliments.
You are all on the same level. I'm asking again, what is that will never break, will never wear out? You can give them away and still have them. Each time you give them away, they will get better. And if you don't give them away, they are of no use.
I know the answer.
I know the answer. Jen,
Yeah.
what is the answer?
But I don't want to tell it.
Oh, such a
Please.
good answer.
Secrets. No.
Very, very beautiful, Sarah. Right. All of them is true, actually.
Yeah, but it's stories.
Stories.
Cemre, it's actually stories. And the other answer is under your tongue, whatever it means to you.
Great.
So I hope you enjoy my workshop, and I hope that you are going to create some rituals with your children, and you can create a real rhythmical enjoyment while you do repetition in the story, and you can create an interactive storytelling sessions with your children. Slowly, we need to close the session, but if there is a question, go ahead. No one? Then thank you so much. I am so happy to have you, and I'm so happy to focus on repetition and rhythm together. Enjoy your daily routine, enjoy your daily rhythm, and so on. See you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
See you.
See you next
Bye.
week. We have a repetition. See you next
Yes.
week.
Bye.
Ciao, ciao.